I was forced into oral sex with Vince McMahon. When I couldn't complete his desires, he got really angry, started ripping off my jeans, pulled me on top of him, and told me again, if I wanted a $500,000 a year contract, I had to satisfy him.
WWE boss Vince McMahon has resigned following sex trafficking allegations from a former employee.
You may have heard about the shocking sex abuse lawsuit being leveled at WWE boss Vince McMahon by a former employee. The scandal couldn't come at a worse time as the WWE signed a massive $5 billion deal with Netflix. So much is on the line. Everyone at the WWE has reportedly been told to not say a word.
While those at the WWE have been instructed not to say a word regarding the Vince McMahon allegations, there are some people in the industry who have decided to speak up and who have reacted. Bret the Hitman Hart recently stated that he's always had a lot of respect for Vince McMahon. However, amidst these latest allegations, he feels embarrassed that he ever thought highly of him.
More of what Bret Hart told Slate magazine, and I quote, "I'm going to speak my truth, and I'm not worried about Vince's feelings. He's never cared about mine. I don't have any problem with everybody kicking his head around the parking lot. I'm okay with the truth coming out. It's like Jeffrey Dahmer, Harvey Weinstein, or Jeffrey Epstein. Vince will be a joke. He'll be used for humor, and you'll shake your head at the shock value of some joke about what did Vince McMahon do? He'll always be associated with this story, especially as it gets bigger and bigger. I don't think this is the only incident of this kind of predatory behavior. I think you'll find that it's everywhere in the WWE. I always had a respect for him. Now it's tainted. I'm embarrassed that I thought so highly of him. I do not think I could ever shake his hand if he extended it. Too creepy."
Former WWE superstar Rob Van Dam has stated that he sometimes wonders whether or not these are the types of things that billionaires like Vince McMahon get up to feel even more in power.
I still probably haven't seen all the pieces, but what I saw was pretty shocking. I can't imagine the Vince McMahon that I know speaking like that person that texted those messages. It seemed like it was coming from a depraved 17-year-old or something to me. So my first thought was, come on, like he really said like all that. And then, I know the belief is that they can prove it and that it's legitimate, credible sources. So it just leaves me a little bit bewildered, I can't imagine that, but, I don't know how. It makes me wonder, like, these, like, billionaires that are, like, world leaders, what do they do for fun? Like, you see these movies where they, like, let people out in the woods and then, like, hunt them down and shoot them. It's like a rich people's game and stuff. And if any of this stuff, is based on some truth, then I kind of make a comparison there, as far as like someone that must have like such a hunger for power that they need to control someone, and that's about Vince. I can't say everyone else that was mentioned would surprise me quite as much.
WWE legend Mick Foley had the following to say.
It's really ugly.
Yeah.
I feel some very similar, just like that dead inside feeling the way I had in 2007 after the Benoit murders. And man, I hope it doesn't take away from people's amazing memories of all the things that Mr. McMahon created or helped create, including, my character and the programs that I was in. He was such a big part of it. I wish he'd really just stepped aside. The first time we just heard a little hint of these allegations.
Yeah.
Former WWE wrestler Ryback stated that he's been telling people the truth about Vince McMahon for years and that the truth will always prevail.
And I've been telling you guys the truth for almost 8 years on this piece of shit. Do I have your attention now? The truth always wins, even if it takes time. But the truth, and the whole truth, will always come out eventually and always prevail victorious. This man, if you even want to call him that, man, child, little boy, scared little boy, and an old man's body, is obsessed with power and control and tormenting other human beings, good human beings. The first time I ever looked in that little boy's eyes, I saw pure evil. And I knew I wanted nothing to do with him and his piece of shit company at that time. This piece of shit has had all my social media suppressed and did everything in his power to try to ruin my life and to try to turn good people against me over the years with all the lies and fake accusations and negative articles on me, but mainly suppressing me and my brand to try to hurt the perception of me to the people out there. The truth always wins.
Former wrestling valet Francine stated that one of the higher-ups in the WWE gave her some dodgy advice regarding what the best way is to approach Vince McMahon.
I had, and I'm not going to name names, so don't even ask me, but I had someone higher up tell me what you need to do is you need to wear a low-cut top so your breasts are out, and you need to put oil on your chest. You need to knock on his door and lean over his desk and say, Vince, you know, what can I do for you? And I said, I don't do that. Never had to sleep with Paul for my spot. Never had to sleep with anyone for a spot. I'm not doing that. He goes, well, the other girls do it. I said, then let the other girls do it because I'm not doing it. That's not how I roll. That's not my thing. I'd rather be sent home.
UFC legend and former WWE superstar Ken Shamrock stated that these allegations against Vince McMahon have always been around and that no one ever really thought that they were not true.
Anytime that you're at that level and that you have that much power, I think you're going to see things like that happen and people take advantage of their power. It hasn't been a secret. I mean, like, there's always been allegations, and I don't think anybody really truly believes they weren't true. I think they just believe that they, like we know now, they were just paid off for, you know, hush money. So this is no shock. I mean, like, we live in this world and it happens all the time.
Former WWE wrestler Paul London spoke about the sexual harassment that the late Ashley Mazzaro went through at the hands of Vince McMahon.
But I do remember specifically many times when she would be crying to me because Vince was propositioning her to fly on the jet with them. Like Kevin Dunn, Bucktooth Bucky would be telling her that she has to fly on the jet with him, or that he might, you know, possibly, or every now and then, if she was at the, you know, they'd always put the divas up like the TV hotel or whatever, you know, he'd be knocking on her door and, you know, trying to get her to answer. And it's just like, I'm shocked this Vince stuff is just now coming out. I mean, you know, I haven't looked up on a lot of it and like, oh, I want to get the details because I just would rather not. But I'm surprised it hasn't come out within the last 10 years. But that just goes to show how afraid people are of that power dynamic, where they're so fearful of losing their job, or, you know, it's like, what does that say about you if you're protecting this 90-year-old fucking corpse with a thong tan line just because he's a billionaire?
The whole Ashley Mazzaro story is, of course, very tragic, and I recently did a video detailing the claims that she made against Vince McMahon and the WWE, saying that they allegedly covered up a sexual assault which she experienced on a tour with the WWE to Kuwait, and I'll drop the link in the description below. The Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels stated that it's a very, very sad situation regarding the Vince McMahon allegations, and that he encourages the youth coming into the industry to tell them the truth about anything going on.
So look, I have not, you know, we obviously, everyone is aware of the situation, and understands it. And like I said, it's it's an incredibly sad situation. Look, I can sit here and go like it sucks, but we have always, again, and I've mentioned it to you all in the past, that we take that very. Look, I take all of the youth that come through here incredibly serious, because this is it's a tough line of work regardless of what's going on. Just leaving home and coming here and pursuing your dreams is a big thing that we take incredibly serious here. We understand the young men and women that come through our doors are impressionable, so we absolutely certainly encourage the openness and again, telling everybody to please, again, tell us the truth, and let us know how we can help.
Longtime wrestling journalist Dave Meltzer has stated that he thinks Vince McMahon is done.
I've said before, I don't think he can survive this, and been wrong. But this one, I don't think he can survive this because it's too much on the heels of everything else that's come out.
Maria Kanellis stated on Twitter, or X as it's now known, that there have been rumors for years regarding the Vince McMahon allegations.
All the news coming out is horrible. Many of us experienced or heard rumors of different levels of evil for years. Some tried to speak up, to build momentum, to change the culture. Many times we've been called bitter or crazy. Others have been paralyzed by fear. I just hope justice is served, and I hope this brings some people peace.
Al Snow has stated that the McMahon name, as well as the legacy, will be completely ruined if it turns out that all of these allegations are true.
On the Vince McMahon allegations, the only thing I can say, what a sad situation for his children. And what a even sadder situation, honestly, for his grandchildren. Like Shane's son's in college right now.
I know.
I mean, imagine what he's got to be dealing with, and really, whatever the allegations, and because they are allegations, and until everything's proven, you know what I mean? But those allegations have damaged the one thing you have, as far as I'm concerned, the most valuable thing a person owns, the most valuable thing a man can own in your life is your name.
Yeah.
Period. It's your name. And now his great-grandfather, his grandfather, his father, that name it's done and dusted. I mean, it's ruined. Absolutely ruined. Especially if these allegations are proven true. And now his legacy is no longer, what he has given to the professional wrestling business. Let's be honest, what he's given to all of us.
Yep.
And being a person who literally came from zero to a billionaire, that legacy is not going to be it no more. Now that legacy is going to be Weinstein, it's going to be Cosby, and it's going to be McMahon.
Former WWE manager Teddy Long didn't mince words when giving his opinion about whether or not Vince McMahon and his co-defendant John Laurinaitis is guilty or not.
Vince may have been influenced by John Laurinaitis, now, and this is me, and this is my opinion, but I believe he is as guilty as hell.
Former WWE wrestler Lance Storm stated that it's highly unlikely that all of these allegations against Vince McMahon are false.
And he needs to be gone and done, and I hope there's criminal charges brought if any of this is even remotely true, which, with there being so many NDAs and a long list of things, it's like I can't fathom how it isn't.
Pro wrestling booker Eric Bischoff has stated that he thinks Vince McMahon is pretty much evil.
But it's just sick, and I mean mentally, emotionally sick, and evil.
Matt Hardy stated that these allegations could be damaging not only to Vince McMahon, but to the WWE as a whole.
But when he has his day in court, and depending on how things turn out, this can really tarnish his legacy and be damaging overall to WWE.
Former WWE diva Dawn Marie has stated that she's not surprised by any of the allegations that have come out against Vince McMahon.
But no, I do know for a fact that shit had happened, because there were a couple of young ladies, there was one actually that I know for a fact had come to me for advice because something she was being approached very hard, and it was very uncomfortable. So I do know for a fact, and she ended up leaving. She was like, it was like during those diva search, one of those diva search girls. And So, but you know, I wasn't surprised. I mean, you hear about it you always hear about it, right?
WWE executive Bruce Prichard, who has worked in close proximity to Vince McMahon for a number of years now, has stated that for those who believe, no explanation is needed, and for those who don't, no explanation will do.
I'm at liberty to discuss any legal matters with the company whatsoever. So to that, there's nothing that I can say and or do. Right. So there can't be a response from a legal standpoint, and you can ask till you're blue in the face, and that's going to be your answer. I'm not involved. I'm not being sued. I'm not accused of anything, and nor, you know, it's a legal matter. And as I said to you, you know, sometimes it is as simple as, for those who believe, no explanation is needed. For those that don't, no explanation will do. And that's kind of where we are, and we'll let the rest of it sit in the hands of the fine legal system that we have here in the United States of America.
John Cena recently gave his opinion on the Howard Stern show, where he stated that he is a big advocate of accountability.
So, I don't think it's complicated to talk about. I think it's complicated to listen to. And that's kind of why I don't necessarily put a lot of time and equity into it.
Yeah.
Again, I think there's still a long ways to go.
Yeah.
I can say this. I'm a big advocate of love and friendship and honesty and communication. But in the same breath, I'm also a big advocate of accountability.
Yeah, me too.
I think you explained it well of if someone's behavior lies so far outside your value system that the balance shifts of like, man, I can't operate in a world where this works.
Yeah.
That's the end result of being accountable. But there's
What
also
are you going to do though?
Right now, what I'm going to do is love the person I love,
right.
Be their friend. And by that, it means like, hey, I love you. You got a hill to climb. And, you know, there's the saying of like, hey, you don't know who you are, or you don't know who your friends are until the shit hits the fan or your back's against the wall. That doesn't make any of what's going on any easier to swallow.
Right.
But just telling somebody that like, hey, I love you, man, this is going to be a hill to climb. We're going to see what happens. And that's that. I think it sounds so cliche, but it has to be one day at a time. But at the same token, I've openly said is I love the guy. I got a great relationship with the guy. So that's that.
No, I don't think that's cliche at all. That's kind of in my approach. One thing I do, and I say this to my wife all the time, I said, I'm going to pick up the phone and call the guy. I don't want to sit there and hide and say, I don't want to be the kind of friend who then says, well, I'm never going to address this again.
Yeah, I think my construct of trying to operate with honesty and communication, I think those are strong leads to handling any problem or any achievement. But the whole thing is super, super unfortunate.
Yeah.
That's really the thing that sucks, because not only does it deal with an individual I love, it deals with an entity that I love.
Yeah.
And it's one that I speak highly of. And you want to make sure I want everyone to have the experience I had. If you're an employee at Disneyland, you want everybody to go to Disney and think it's the greatest place on earth. And when someone doesn't, or when you find out that there may or may not have been things going on there that, this place I was speaking so great about, well, in some aspects needed a lot of work. Though that's more than just how do I feel about this person. Now I shift to, okay, am I doing all I can to make it better? From the advice of like, work as hard as you can, promote as hard as you can. Is there anything I can do? So not only do I tell my friend I love them, I also switch to the entity and say, how can I help?
The allegations against Vince McMahon has been a hot topic, particularly in the court of public opinion. And it is interesting to listen to the reactions to the people who have worked with him, or who have been, or who still are in the industry.
Do you believe that sexual harassment exists in your workplace?
I believe that there's a possibility of sexual harassment existing everywhere.
And I asked directly if it was in the World Wrestling Federation.
I don't want it in my organization. I don't want it.
I'd like to reiterate the question. Do you believe there is sexual harassment amongst the wrestlers or employees of the World Wrestling Federation today?
There is a possibility of that. That's why I have these independent investigators to come in.
Let me just say that I've made mistakes, obviously, both personally and professionally through my 50-year career. I've owned up to every single one of them and then moved on.
Now, I've said in a previous video regarding the Vince McMahon allegations that where there is smoke, there is generally fire. And in the case of Vince McMahon, there seems to be a shitload of smoke. But in any case, let me know what you guys think in the comments. And as always, thanks for watching.